Hello, my name is Samantha Suero, and today I'm going through my presentation for my internship at the Moret Company for the summer 2024 semester. Alright, so to start off with, my internship started with the Moret Company. They are a general contractor here in Pensacola, Florida, and their main specialty is on commercial and mostly commercial and public projects, specifically more so educational. There's been a few hospital work and quite a few religious and church work as well, so a lot of community buildings. So as far as my position at Moret Company goes, I actually started as an intern about exactly a year ago, around August 16th, but at that time they didn't have an internship class available yet. So I started at Moret Company in August and have been there up to this point, and I am now currently a full-time employee there. My official position is assistant project manager and BIM coordinator. So what that requires me to do is, as far as the assistant project manager role, I mainly will do a lot of the document control, mainly submittals, RFIs, meeting minutes, try and schedules, set up scheduling, agendas, anything along those lines. And then on the BIM coordination side, currently Moret only has one job that incorporates and uses BIM, and that is the South End High School, which I'll get to in a second. And for that role, I'm responsible for using Navisworks and Revit to navigate our 3D model, federate the multiple Revit and Navisworks files from the subcontractors to bring them together and then coordinate who's going to be taking what clashes we find and how they're going to be solving that, so that once it's all figured out in the model, they're ready in the field. All right. As far as the projects I'm involved in, so overall there's a total of 4 projects I'm involved in. The 2 that I am majorly involved in are going to be PCC4 and South End. So the first one, against PCC4 on this job, my role is as an APM. This project just began not too long ago. It's actually a summer term project because it's a college, so they want to try to get it done while the students are out for the summer. And it is on their dining hall. So the dining hall's been around for quite some time, and the college wanted it renovated to try and go for a new look, a more modern look. And that involved a lot of demolition of all the interior finishes, so removing the flooring, any molded or damaged drywall was removed and replaced, a lot of new fixtures, some electrical replacements here and there were necessary. And then while all the interior work was going on, they also wanted an entire roof membrane replacement. So there was a full roof replacement going on at the same time, but the roof wasn't taken off, but replaced the membrane and coatings and redid some of the curbs up there as well as the flashing. So overall, this project is 57,250 square feet and is scheduled to end in the next 2 weeks. We've actually mostly wrapped up this project. At this point, we're just collecting attic stock and closeout documentation, and it's gone very well. This project went ahead of schedule. They ran into very few hiccups. We did a lot of pre-construction meetings and coordination with the subcontractors, which I think we can all agree helped in making this such a smooth project. All right. Oh, and one thing that was a bit more complex for this project was the multiple subcontracts involvement, because instead of it being a direct GC and then the GC hires employees to work under us, in this situation, the owner, Pensacola Christian College, hired Moret, as well as Strobel and Hunter, the architect, Palmer Hamilton, the interior designer. Kesco is our kitchen equipment supplier that does all the counters and serving lines, which is a big part of the project. And then the roofer had their own set of drawings as well, BECI. And so, especially in the beginning, it was a lot to make sure that we had all these documents squared away, separated, and figured out to reduce confusion between everybody and make sure all scopes were covered and no gaps were discovered. Here are just a few pictures of the drawings and project. Down below is just an interior new work floor plan. You can see that there's a main dining hall area, 2 lobbies, 4 restrooms, and then above in the north is the serving lines. The kitchen, nothing behind the serving lines was touched except for in the kitchen they had a revision later on to include a new wheel wall with a sink, but for the most part the kitchen area remained untouched. And then to the right are some of the photos now that we have finished the interior work. You can see we got new flooring, finishes, paint, all the above. And you can see in the bottommost photo, that's when we were still having some equipment run through, and so we put down some board to protect those new finishes. Next up is the PCC Bradley Tower. On this project, I also acted as an APM. This one was not quite as an extensive a project. It was actually pretty small. So for this one, the main scope of work was all HVAC related, to replace some of the main chiller and HVAC units, and then a full duct cleaning of all ducts in the building. This is a multi-story dorm building. The most complex part of this job is that it required the upper wall in the mechanical room on the top floor to be removed, and the new equipment brought in by a crane, which I have a video attached that'll be coming up next. So this one, that was the main bulk of the work. There was some fire alarm and electrical work being done, mainly just replacement as well. In this case, it was a pretty small scope, so only 5 to 7 subcontractors in total. And while we're scheduled for 8/16, we've actually finished up this project completely, and we're only getting closeout documentation moving forward. Alright, please see this quick video real quick. This is a drone aerial footage from Pelican. I believe they're called Pelican is the contractor. I was actually in charge of scheduling this drone walkthrough, so please watch. Alright. So the next project that I was helping on as an APM, I will say this project, I was the assigned APM, but most of the work was handled by the project manager, but this one's still far ongoing, so I'm still working on the submittal log for this one, versus the last two I just shown were summer projects strictly and are nearly at an end. So this project is the Pensacola Little Theater in downtown, and specifically this is going to be phase 2. The project here is to build a rooftop terrace on top that's going to have a stage, a bar, some seating, pergolas, and railings, and it's a very nice view. It'll be great when it's done. So the first phase was actually an interior renovation, redoing stage, putting in some new steel, structural steel, to actually handle what the second phase was, this new rooftop. Major work there. So some of the more complex parts of this project are the extension of both the main elevator and main staircase to this building to the new rooftop. So we're having a new steel staircase fabricated to go into what we're calling the lantern. It's a large spiraling staircase that goes up into the rooftop, and then there's the elevator that was originally just a 2-story is now being moved to a 3-story, which requires some new code requirements that will be affecting some of the work. Alright. Up next, I did kind of skip through the photos, but if you'll go back and pause, it's just a quick picture of the floor plan, one of the concept design photos, as well as a current photo of some steel that just got brought in for the staircase. The fourth and final project that I'm assisting on. In this case, I'm not on this project as an assistant project manager. On South End High School, I'm the BIM coordinator. So currently, this is one of our largest projects that we have going on in the company. It's a really large building. It's about 218,000 square foot just for the main building. And on top of this main building, there's going to be a gymnasium, a sports facility, football stadium, baseball stadium, softball, batting cages, concessions, restrooms, and track and field. It's gonna be a nice high school. I know a lot of the community is actually pretty excited for it. So this one's gonna be going on, started in November. It's gonna keep moving on all the way until 2026 February. And again, for this project, normally you would have a model from the architect, but due to some Escambia School County Board decisions, model was not allowed to be shared. But due to the just large scale of this project, Moret has hired a modeler to model the architectural and having our subcontractors coordinate through 3D modeling as well. And my role in this is to, again, utilize Navisworks. I lead all the meetings to make sure we're keeping on track and ahead of construction, especially since we started later, considering we didn't get a model prior to, which would be standard. So we had a late start on the BIM, but make sure we keep on track with the field to stay ahead of them and keep each area coordinated before they start hanging their supports. Alright, so here's a quick video of this project as well. So in this photo you can see the square building in the back. That's going to be the gymnasium. While the larger building, we've currently built up to the 2nd story. There's going to be 3. It's got 2 wings and a long stretch of the main building. We've already poured slabs for the 2nd floor, and the 3rd floor steel is being flown in this week. As the video keeps turning, you'll see further north there is the foundation set up for the field house that are currently underway. Further back, we're going to have that field and track and the basketball and softball amenities. But it's a really good project so far. It's moving great. We have amazing superintendent out here at Moret. He's been doing a great job keeping us even ahead of schedule. Alright. So skills that I've used and acquired at this job. So as far as skills I used, I did know quite a bit just from classes about some document control, management with meetings, the project management, BIM coordination. Kind of had those basic classes about the BIM basics that gives you an overview of how to use Navis, how to use Revit, and how to use all those functions. And then project management, we have our project administration class at college. That one helped with understanding some of the dynamics between subcontractor, contractor, some of the daily ongoings, a lot of those daily skills. And then some of the things I actually acquired from this internship and job up to this point is my communication skills have definitely greatly increased. You never think about it in the beginning, but in this job, there's a lot of communication. Constantly talking to other subcontractors, other owners, other other colleagues, a lot of people that are new, and you'll meet from different walks of life. And it's pretty interesting because a lot of them have some pretty impressive knowledge on their trades. Learned a lot more on Navisworks technically. So my main class gave me a good background, but using it at my job has definitely improved and furthered my knowledge on Navisworks, mainly just through practice and use. Procore, I went through some Procore training on my onboarding here. So I got the Procore certification for beginners, and then just again through practice and use, as well as the training sessions Brett provided, I feel fully confident in my ability to use Procore at this time. As well as, I didn't put it on here, but Bluebeam is another software that we use extensively at our job that I frankly hadn't heard of at all before starting, but now that I've worked here, it's my favorite. It's an amazing tool. Time management is another one that I've improved on and acquired. I'd still say it's something I'm struggling with, but I'm working on it every day, and this job has helped me understand making sure I keep on track for any tasks that were assigned to me and their due dates. So personal goals and benefits. My main goals were to get practical experience, learn some more about BIM coordination, and develop project management skills. So far, I feel like I've definitely gained all of these goals. I haven't quite met them, but especially the experience is something that you'll just keep building on every day, and it can only be built on with time, but it's a good one. As far as benefits, again, I've gotten a lot of hands-on experience, learned much more of the practical applications of BIM and how it applies in our position as a general contractor. And my multitasking has definitely been improved as well with the spread between different projects. Some of the problems I encountered, I kind of mentioned before, but for me, one of the biggest ones was the overextension across multiple projects. I did find myself running quite a bit at a time and struggling to prioritize tasks, especially because there was the project that I would consider my own, the BIM coordination, and keeping on the South End team's schedule and their superintendent over there, while also the Four Winds job, keeping on track with the project manager there, Kent Criddle, keeping in their priorities. And then the third project manager I was working with is Peyton Hoover. And again, just the multiple PMs trying to juggle priorities of tasks between different jobs. It gets a bit more complicated, especially different jobs and different managers. So those are some of the problems, some solutions for those. Rhett's always been very open, spoke with them on getting some more APMs in to lighten the load, as well as get some help from my fellow interns, and that has definitely helped tremendously. We actually have a new APM coming in the end of August, because after some discussion, we all actually kind of came to the conclusion that, if at all possible, try to keep every PM with their own APM, because having multiple projects at the same PM isn't too bad, because you can really prioritize. You have a main point of contact there, but when you have an APM across multiple PMs, it gets a lot more complex and harder to task manage. I've reflected on a lot of my lessons learned here, especially with BIM. There were a few practices that we tried in the beginning that didn't end up quite working out, that now we make it a habit to keep a running list of any lessons we've learned for moving forward, and it keeps us moving in the right direction. Other than that, just getting, as far as my time management and prioritization, getting a lot of direction from coworkers, as well as just from the due date of the task. So, if the task does have a specific due date, that's the easiest way to know what needs to come first. If I don't have that, just a lot of communication between the parties of what's needed and when. For my future career plans, as far as the short-term plan for the next 5 years, I do plan to stay with Moret at least for another year or two. They've been an amazing company. I would never leave them without good reason. I wouldn't leave on a bad note. They've been great to me, and I do really enjoy my time here, as well as my position and resources they provide. However, I do at some point plan to be moving up north. Not sure when, too young to know, but whenever I do move up north, my goal there would be to continue some more APM specific work, but I'd like to try and keep that side focus of BIM. As far as long term goes, I'm hoping to get more involved in BIM management at that point, because I've realized that being a BIM manager and having experience of an APM is widely beneficial. You learn a lot of the processes behind the coordination and why certain things are important, where you want to have focus. So I'd like to keep working in APM as for quite a bit, but long term I'd like to just plainly stick to BIM coordination and move a bit away from the project management. As far as my evaluation of my time here at Marant, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. They've been an amazing company. Personally, the best feature working here has been the openness from my colleagues and even superiors. Anytime I've had a question, I never felt like it was too dumb or too silly to ask, and I've always gotten answers that have just broadened my knowledge on the subject, and it has been a very good experience being able to, even if I just have a slow day, go to a coworker and see what they're working on. They'll walk me through it, teach me something new, and it's been great. For me, the worst feature goes back to that time management and the task priorities when you're spread across multiple things. As far as how I felt in terms of educational preparation from the college, there was definitely a lot of new functions and daily job activities that I actually wasn't really prepared for based on the college experience. The main thing is some of the just day-to-day things that we do. So the submittals, RFIs, workflows, contract commitments. Contracts I feel the most familiar with, but the other four, I really felt like I never even heard the word before until I walked in. So I feel that could definitely be something that's more focused on in the college side. As far as classes that were something that really stood out to me as really beneficial was drawings. Drawings is a huge one. I would even say we could go further in depth with drawings than just a summer course. So drawings, even that, whether you're field or office, I feel drawings should be a pretty big highlight. From what my perspective and where I want to go, BIM was also helpful, and then estimating and scheduling have helped as well for takeoffs and general scheduling meetings, understanding where we're at in the job. My advice to any future interns: just find a company that works with you. Don't, you want to work with somebody who will provide you those resources to learn and grow and become a better person in this field. But on that same note, on the other side of that mirror is they're giving you these resources and opportunities, so make sure you're doing your best wherever you go and really showing your appreciation by doing a good job. And really all they're looking for is effort. I think anywhere you go, the biggest thing is how much effort and consideration you're putting into the work you're doing. Other than that, my other recommendation is to consider that you don't always have to go look at an APM or an assistant superintendent. Really, you could go to there are many, many jobs that you can go to with this type of degree. And so don't feel like you have to go to one or the other. There are people who are interested in safety inspections, there's drafting, there's estimators, schedulers, foremen, specialty work, like if you go specifically into one trade, whether it be HVAC or, really there's a wide amount of options. There's even construction accounting, project, like a comptroller. There's quite a few options. As for my final slide, it is my insights and recommendations. So after this experience, I definitely think that all students should have to go through an internship before their graduation. And something that I even think, another note on this, is I would even recommend that, if at all possible, either start a shadow opportunity the first summer of your second year, or open up internships to be at the end of your third year instead of your senior year. Because I found that getting it in my third year at the end of that was really beneficial in terms of connecting a lot of the dots of what I was learning in class to what I'm actually doing in the field and how it relates. And it definitely sticks with you a lot more because you're practicing what you're learning every day. And I feel it's very beneficial to do so. And my recommendation for this actual course is that, I'm not sure who all watches these, but personally, a big issue I had with this class was the cost. At the end of the day, this is a class that requires minimal submissions and doesn't require any teacher meeting times aside from here and there, once or twice at the very beginning, very end. And so, in my opinion, and there's not any materials that the teacher needs to gather either. So I don't believe it's fair to be making students pay for this class, at least not at the full credit hour price. And then I think that's it as far as my recommendations and insights. That will be all for my presentation. I really did enjoy this internship experience and greatly appreciate Merit Company for giving me this opportunity.